Hi Forster fans, I'm Paityn Tabor. I'm a junior here at the college, and I'm doing the Coaches Show with Coach Cat, where we sit down every week and talk about last week's game and the upcoming one. So this week we talked about last week's game against Cornell for homecoming, and then this week's upcoming game against Illinois College. So here it is. Hi Coach, congrats on the win against Cornell, first of all.
Thanks. It's a great win for homecoming.
Yeah. First thing I want to talk about is how did you like the way that your team came out of the gate coming off of the bye week? For example, like Danny Baker's pick six, how was that able to sort of get things going for your guys?
Yeah, I thought that was great. Second play of the game gets returned for a touchdown. In the last two home games, we've had two scores in our first four plays. So I think that's, really special. And neither one of those scores came on offense. So whenever you're doing that, I think that's special. I thought Danny did a great job of, sticking to the scouting report, something we had seen there. There was kind of a tip, and he was able to play it, make a great play, get in the end zone. And, energy-wise, I thought that was great. There was an incredible home crowd, vibe going. And when we came through on the Forester Walk, it was by far the loudest crowd we'd had with everybody that was in the South Campus quad and the balconies. It was really special. And then at the game, I think that got everybody even more into it. And, our defense did a great job of setting the table. So as a coach, when, on the offensive side, when we're up 7-0 and I haven't had to call a play, that's really, really fun. So
That's awesome. And then kind of on the flip side of that, how did you like the rhythm that your offense was playing with when they did go out on the field?
We really kind of struggled to finish the drives early on. We had a field goal on a longer drive, and there was a later drive that we went for it on fourth down twice, converted once, didn't convert the second time. And I think we were trying to we were inching our way down. We weren't able to take advantage of the deep shots like we had the previous week against Knox. And so I think that our offense kind of felt that the second half was really going to be ours. We had set some things up, and then, of course, it didn't happen. So we, rhythm-wise, I don't think we hit very well on rhythm on offense, but I think we felt like we were, one block or one execution thing away. We had what probably would have been a guaranteed touchdown on a play just from leverage, and we, unfortunately, our quarterback goes to throw the ball, it gets fumbled out on the ground. And but even the first play of the game, we call a play, we get kind of caught with a quick time or a quick play clock, and we end up running the wrong direction, but we get 36 yards. And so we were kind of in that mode of execution wasn't where it needed to be, but we were still having good things happen. I think that's a very dangerous place for an offense to be, is when good things happen at poor execution, you start to think, oh, it's okay, we'll be fine, and instead of just going out and executing it because it could have been an even bigger play.
You kind of touched on it a little bit, but you guys didn't get to play the second half of your game due to weather. When was the last time that you as a coach experienced a situation like this, and what was that experience like?
Yeah, so I've had, unfortunately, two other lightning delays since I've been at Lake Forest. One was actually a homecoming game against Carroll, I think in maybe 2013, where we had a lightning delay with 36 seconds to go, but it was a one-score game, and so we sat and waited that one out and actually, finished that game with a victory. But the one that always sticks out in our minds is the 2011 game against Concordia Chicago. It was the first game of the year, lightning delay in the second quarter. It's decided that we can't play the game, and we actually ended up playing the rest of that game the first week after the season. So 9 weeks later, we ended up finishing that game with them. That was a terrible experience because it was such a different team. We were both different teams at that point. But the Lightning was, we've had some delays before, but never one that canceled the game. And I think the fact that we had the game kind of had to be completed at that point, and we had to have the long meeting with the officials. We waited about 2.5 hours until, we were kind of like, we don't have lights. This is eventually going to be too dark to play, much less lightning. And so for our guys, I think they handled it really well. They were ready to play at a moment's notice. Our guys were fully energized and ready to go when I came back over after the meetings, and unfortunately I had to tell them that the game had been called. So.
What adjustments were you making at halftime to kind of keep your players from getting too tight or too lethargic in the locker room?
Yeah, so we knew right away that this was going to be not a 30-minute delay. We knew this was going to be a much longer time. We made our guys, when they got down in the locker room, pop their pads, sit in the locker room. We spaced out as much as we could in the building. There was really no schematic stuff different because we'd actually gone out for halftime, and we were out there for a minute and then got sent back down before we'd gotten to kick off. And so I think from a schematic thing, it wasn't really that. We'd already made those adjustments. But I think for our guys, it was just okay, reset your mind, relax right now. When we go out, we'll know 15, 20 minutes before we go out. That's when you kind of reset your mind to get back into the game. we didn't want to have that amped upness for the whole time because we didn't know how long it was going to last. We knew it was going to be more than an hour. We didn't know if it was going to be 2, 3 hours, whatever it was going to be, and we just wanted to make sure that our guys were fresh, not wasting their emotions, not wasting that energy level. So we were pretty laid back. I mean, I came back over and the music was playing down there, and guys were just kind of hanging out.
Now I kind of want to pivot a little bit. So you've got road conference games the next 2 weeks. Let's preview this Saturday's matchup against Illinois College. They haven't won a game yet and are 0-3 in the conference, but what problems do you foresee playing these guys?
Well, just like I told our players, this is the best 0-4 football team I've ever seen in the Midwest Conference. They've had some injury issues down there. You know, their all-conference tailback got hurt early in the year. Their starting quarterback missed a game. So, unfortunately, at least the quarterback, we're anticipating to be back this week. And, you know, they're very explosive offensively. We played them in the spring. Destin Chance is a great quarterback, you know, real athletic presence back there. And he's just a two-way player, you know, with his arm and his legs that can create problems for us. And I think that unfortunately they've played the top teams in our conference, if you will, in Monmouth and the University of Chicago, who, if you look at the way they've been playing thus far, are up there, and Ripon, who's 4-0. Like, they've had the hard, you know, murderer's row, if you will, coming out of the gates. I do think that they're a team that is dangerous. They always play better at home than they do on the road, and we're going down there. And so I know they're going to be really talented. Defensively, they've got probably one of the best defensive linemen in the conference, in Jalen Swan, number 8. So he's a guy that we have to identify every step of the way. But playing in the spring, there's a lot of familiarity between the two teams, and it's a consistent coach. This is the first time all year that we faced the same coach that we faced the last time we played them. And so, you know, Coach DeFrisco is a guy that I've gotten to know over the last 7-8 years in the conference. They're going to be well coached. They're going to play hard and aggressive. And we have to really make sure that we don't look at their record. That record is so misleading that we just need to not be focused on that. We just got to go out there, make sure we secure the victory, go 1-0. I think our guys know that from the spring it was a 21-14 game. It was the game we had to have 4 safeties to win the game. And so I think that they're going to be pretty clear that this is not an 0-4 football team, despite what the record says.
Mm-hmm. What are the keys to victory for us in order to, win?
Yeah, so this will be the first time since 2019 that we've traveled overnight for an away game. And I think there is a lot of differences when you travel overnight of getting into a hotel, eating restaurant food the night before the game, and just some of those types of things. You don't have your normal wake up in my own bed mindset. And so I think that our guys have to really be prepared for that. For our younger guys, our freshmen, sophomores who haven't had that experience, they have to be really strong in that. The other thing is they can't get focused on really anything other than doing their job. There's some oddities when you go to Illinois College with where their field is set up, and the fact that all the fans are going to be outside the fence mark area instead of in the stadium. I think that our guys just have to ignore all of that, push that out, and focus on what's going on between the 120 and 53 and a third. If they can do that, we should be in a good spot. We have to run the football better than we did this past week. We were really off a little bit. We were hitting some runs, but not other ones that should have been there. And then we've got to execute in our RPO game better. We were really uncrisp as far as that goes, and I think that whether you talk to our quarterbacks or our wide receivers, there's some chances there that if we connect on a screen or a slant, that it's a big play, and we didn't. So we have to make sure we do that this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's actually all I have for you today, Coach. So best of luck against Illinois College, and I look forward to visiting with you next week after another Forester victory.
Awesome. Thanks. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Go Foresters.